I think it really is fascinating when you see stories in the news like Tesla investing such a large amount into Bitcoin. But I feel like there's a lot of people that don't really understand why that's a sensible move for a company like Tesla. Why don't they just invest that money in their car manufacturing or, a new product line or something? So could you help us to shed some light on why Tesla did that, do you think?
So companies like Tesla that have cash in their treasury, last time I checked, the cash was losing value at 15% year on year. So why would you not convert into, Bitcoin, which has been coined by many as gold 2.0? And it definitely is a better gold. In my opinion, it will only be a matter of time before the market capitalization of Bitcoin takes over the market capitalization of gold. Bitcoin's more easily divisible. For a start, it's digital, so it can be transferred very, very easily as opposed to gold. You think the cost that goes into shipping gold, it must run into the thousands, if not tens of thousands and beyond. If you want to ship gold from, China to the United States, where you can send Bitcoin in an hour.
Mm.
It's really that it's simple. You can send billions of dollars worth of value in such a short period of time. So it really is amazing.
Yeah, not to mention the added security as well. I mean, think of the risk of shipping gold around the world in comparison to just
Yeah,
sending Bitcoin. You don't have to worry about pirates with Bitcoin, do you?
yeah, that's true. I suppose the only thing you have to worry about, if you have that sort of capital in Bitcoin, you're gonna probably, in fact, you will self custody your private keys for your crypto assets. So the only thing you would want to do is lose maybe your password or your recovery phrase to get into your Bitcoin wallet. Because I think there was a guy not too long ago, maybe a month ago, a guy called Stephen Thomas. He was all over the news, Forbes, BBC, wherever else, that it was close to $300 million he has locked in a Bitcoin in a it's called a I can't remember the name of it, some sort of hard drive, and you have 10 goes to get into it, or it wipes itself. All the data is encrypted and disappears, and his password is in that hard drive, and he has two guesses left. So I'm sure it keeps him up at night. It would keep any of us up at night. you know.
That is
So that
horrendous.
really is,
I can't imagine what
yeah.
must be going through his head.
I know it's absolutely insane. A lot of people always say they don't get into the space for the money, the investment. The ones that get in years ago, they were in it for the libertarian view. Getting away from government and setting up their own payment networks. But in my opinion, something like that, and I'm sure most people agree now in that space, it's never going to happen. The government's never going to give up control. You
Mm.
know, um, I think governments will start buying Bitcoin. I've already seen a couple of countries that have set up mining rigs to mine Bitcoin. In my opinion, it's only a matter of time before central banks turn around. I know Christine Lagarde said a while ago on Twitter, maybe it's just a couple of weeks ago, that basically they were not interested in holding Bitcoin. But, you know, I just don't see that as a possibility. Bitcoin to me is digital gold. Why would you not want to hold it as a central bank? Especially with central bank digital currencies coming in, that's a completely different talk. It's insane what central bank digital currencies will do for the world.
Should we go a bit deeper into that? Like, what sort of things really excite you about that?
Central bank digital currencies, I think, will really transform the entire world, how everything operates. I think one of the biggest ones will be tracking. So I'm sure we all know, we basically have little to no privacy in today's world. There's no doubt about it. No matter how careful you are, you essentially have little to no privacy. And I know in China, they tell you how much tax you owe them. They track everything. And soon enough, with central bank digital currencies, which a lot of people have said that it's not to replace cash. I don't believe that. I believe that the goal of a central bank digital currency is ultimately to replace the cash. So it's going to be a walk in the park to track money laundering and, what people owe for tax. And it really is going to be a walk in the park, especially with what's going on now in the world. I know in Wuhan, when COVID first started kicking off, there was reports of them burning, piles of money because they didn't want the disease to spread. We don't really know how true that is, but it's viable. I'm sure we both know we've obviously handled money. I'm sure maybe a generation or two, beyond us maybe won't handle money, but we know that money can be dirty. You don't know where it's came from, how many people have had it before. It's to me, it's a central bank digital currency will be ushered in sooner than most people think. I think an estimate last time I checked was around 2025, but realistically, I think there could be one pretty soon, in the next year or two. I wouldn't be surprised if a central bank digital currency was ushered in.
Mm. Well, that would be a pretty incredible milestone for the entire blockchain and crypto space, that's for sure. And it's really interesting what you were saying about how with digital currencies and maybe a cashless society, it would be much easier to track stuff like fraud and money laundering. And without getting too conspiratorial, do you think that potentially part of the reason why large organizations and governments haven't been too supportive of like moving away from cash into digital currencies? Do you reckon that's something to do with that aspect of how it's much easier to track where money is moving around the economy, and perhaps the ones in power don't want it to be revealed as much? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I watched a podcast not that long back, and they touched on that exact point. If there is a central bank digital currency, we can all view where our money is going. For
Mm,
example, if you donate to your local politician, you would be able to see essentially where that money is going. That could be getting spent on holidays here and holidays there, as opposed to, you know, funding their objectives, for the state or the country or whatever it happens to be.
mm,
So yeah, I mean, a lot of people will be scared of it and won't want it implemented. But the way I see it, and it actually resonates with me quite a lot, I would watch a lot of talks that Gary Vee would do, and not as much now, but I used to watch quite a lot of them. And he always drew back to his past when he was telling people, look, I want to sell wine on the internet. And people laughed at him and went, the internet's a fad. It's just going to pass. It's for the younger generation. To me, blockchain and crypto, and of course, central bank digital currencies really are going to be the future. It just hasn't caught on yet. I think in 10 years from now, maybe even sooner, it will catch on, mainstream,
mm,
especially with, as we were saying earlier, companies like Tesla buying 1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin. That just sort of wakes everybody up. What I do at Crypto Clear, we have had an absolute snowball effect from that news, and Tesla came out with both member signups and subscriber signups to our newsletters. It really is just, the numbers just picked up so quick. It was about a day or two after that, Tesla come out and announced that they bought 1.5 billion. Just my social medias were lit up, and our email was lit up with, what is crypto? How do I get into it? A
mm.
common line was, with what's going on in Tesla, I feel like I want to get in now. That was one or two people said that, but I think people also have the aspect of fear of missing out, with the even the tech, what you're going to do with your business. People don't want to be left behind.
Mm.
That is the fear, they're going to be left behind and just left in the dust, and obviously that doesn't apply too much to the crypto. It applies to, more what you're going to be doing with advising CEOs and how they can really develop their business for the fourth industrial revolution. But it all it all comes around in the same, you know, stroke of a brush. It really is a matter of time.
Mm. Yeah, and we've seen what's happened previously with other technologies when they've been coming to the forefront and starting to be adopted. Companies or organizations that don't appreciate that trend or the potential for that technology, often they are left behind. And we've seen examples like Kodak and Blockbuster, who just didn't see the value in a new technology. They were kind of a bit too cocky in their position and just were too late to the mark, really. And I can see a similar thing happening with the new technologies. Like you said, there's fear of missing out. And I know that early adopters of the fourth industrial revolution are predicted to see 122% increase in cash flow, and late adopters will only see 10%, which obviously, 10% increase in cash flow is good. But if all your competition are getting 122%,
Yeah.
you're so happy about it.